Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 50 days away from its official release by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and crew in order to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one part about Episode 9 that a lot of fans are really excited about is, of course, Palpatine's return and the fact that he is indeed being portrayed by Ian McDiarmid once more in the Skywalker saga, which honestly is a really good thing and a step in the right direction by Disney and Lucasfilm. However, at the same exact time, it is also a risk depending on exactly how Palpatine will be utilized in the movie and exactly how he is going to appear visually on the big screen. Now, with that being said, we do know that this film is actually said to be the darkest there is out of the entire Skywalker saga. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that shot descriptions consisting of a sequence in which it's explained that both Rey and Palpatine are said to be inside of his throne room, where they are exchanging vital pieces of dialogue, where Sidious is described to give Rey a lecture about the dark side and the power of the beyond. It's explained that the scene takes place after Palpatine has already rejuvenated himself and force-pushed Ben Solo down a bottomless pit, where Kylo Ren's fate is said to be mysterious. It's described that one of the scenes involves a moment in which Palpatine reveals more truths about Rey's parents, causing her to become very angry at Palpatine, where Sidious is said to shoot Force lightning at Rey in the sequence, where Rey is said to tap into the dark side of the Force by using Force lightning against Sidious, as well as what is exactly what Palpatine wants for Rey, to tap into her anger and to embrace herself with the dark side. It said that while this happens, Rey begins to hear the Force Ghost voices of both Luke Skywalker and Leia, where they are providing her guidance during her time against Palpatine. This is where Rey eventually stops using the Force lightning technique, where both Luke and Leia tell her that the Force will always be with you. The sequence is said to lead to a moment in which Rey begins to block the lightning, with Anakin and Leia's lightsaber in a crossed position. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the thing here about this film is that we do know that J.J. Abrams wants to really take Rey in a different direction. He really wants to evolve the character in significant ways in comparison to how she grew as a character in The Last Jedi. And of course, this makes a lot of sense because this movie's going to go over her lineage, it's going to go over her true bloodline, which, by the way, the leaks do indeed suggest that she is the granddaughter of Darth Sidious himself. So in this particular scenario, it's both Palpatine and Rey inside of the throne room, where essentially Palpatine is taunting Rey, trying to stir up anger within her, in which he is successful at doing so. That leads to a moment in which Palpatine begins to shoot Force lightning at Rey, forcing her in a position to tap into the dark side of the Force by using Force lightning against Palpatine himself. Now, what I love about this, and why it seems very poetic, at least in my point of view, is that if the leaks do indeed match up that she is the granddaughter of Palpatine, which does seem to be the case, by the way, is that here she is literally using the power of her own grandfather, Darth Sidious, by using Force lightning against his Force lightning. However, Palpatine's Force lightning in this scene is actually described to be red, where Rey's is actually said to be blue. Now, that's a very interesting visual, just thinking about it in my head right now. You can only imagine what it's going to look like. The last time we saw red Force lightning was by the Sun in Star Wars The Clone Wars. By the way, the Sun was a character that was essentially the embodiment of the dark side of the Force in the animated TV series The Clone Wars. So the fact that J.J. Abrams is kind of giving us a little bit of a nod to what the Sun was able to do with his Force lightning and how Palpatine is going to use that power against Rey really does open up a lot of ideas here, right? Does actually open up a lot of connections to the Beyond, because we do know that the Beyond holds these new powers that are actually said to be stronger than the dark side of the Force itself, and that Palpatine uses this power in The Rise of Skywalker against Rey and Kylo Ren. In fact, it's one of the main reasons as to why Palpatine is even able to become rejuvenated in the movie by draining the Force from both Rey and Kylo Ren in Episode 9. And that, to me, I think is a very exciting thing, the fact that we are getting these new powers, how specific characters are using dark side oriented powers only for, you know, a limited amount of time in order to go up against a greater evil. Of course, The reason as to Rey even uses Force Lightning is because she has that connection to Palpatine. So you can really see how JJ's trying to really create a lot of parallels between both Rey and Sidious and how it's all going to work out at the very end of the movie. Now, beyond that, we do know that this film is, of course, going to feature a lot of other sequences between Ben Solo and Palpatine. In fact, one of the scenes even involves Palpatine force-pushing Ben down into a bottomless pit, which his fate is actually said to be very mysterious as of right now. We're not quite sure if he dies or survives in this movie. Hopefully he does survive. I feel like that they should at the very least, let one Skywalker live on for the Skywalker saga. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.